Well, hello. Welcome back to the channel. Time for yet another gear review. Many apologies that it's been a little while since I did a video. I've had a lot of you commenting, where'd you go? Are you going to do videos? Yes, I still am. I've just been busy playing some music and haven't had the time to do any videos. But I'm going to try to rectify that and give you guys some more content, like more steadily now. Kind of one of my New Year's resolutions. So we're filming this on January 3rd, 2019. So Happy New Year to all you guys out there. I really appreciate everyone who checks out my channel and comments. So all you guys and any new watchers, welcome. Happy New Year to you as well. So what do we have here? Well, my brother gave me this really awesome present for Christmas. This is a Squier Bullet Strat in a really killer seafoam green color. I just love those seafoam green, surf green, sonic blue kind of Strats. I think they're really rad. And this is a beautiful one. It looks really beautiful. So again, Squier Bullet. Squier Bullets are the bottom tier of Stratocasters. 130 bucks. You can buy this brand new. So it's a really inexpensive guitar. But as you guys know from my channel, I'm a tinkerer. I love to mod things and make things. So kind of one of the reasons I was looking at one of these, and pretty stoked that my brother got it for me. Talk about the features. We have a basswood body with a maple neck, skunk stripe, smaller old school Fender headstock as opposed to the Affinity series, which has the big old 70s headstock. We have an Indian Laurel fretboard as opposed to rosewood. For those of you who know about the CITES rules with importing rosewood, a lot of companies aren't even using it anymore because it's just really expensive to do. So they're finding alternatives. And Squier, or Fender, because Fender owns Squier, has chose for their Squier range Indian Laurel, which it looks like rosewood. It kind of has some similarities of the Palfaro. It's a little lighter. There's definitely, you can see some grain in there. It was actually quite a bit lighter when I got it, but I oiled the fretboard, which darkened it up quite a bit. And it feels, I can't feel any difference between this and rosewood. And it looks pretty much like rosewood, so hey, that's fine. We got your typical Strat set up here. We got a 5-way switch. We got 3 single coil pickups. These are ceramic magnet pickups, which you would find on most inexpensive guitars. But some of the, like the Fender Standard series, or it's now the Player series, they use ceramic magnets. You know, so it's not uncommon for little more expensive guitars to use those as well. You got volume, tone, 6-point trim. The small block in there, 3 screws. Kind of inexpensive Squier tuners, 2 string trees, you know, and a really light maple neck. The neck profile feels pretty good. It feels very similar to my American Strat, which I was surprised. I was expecting a smaller neck, but upon doing some research, I come to find out that it's the Affinities that come with a little bit smaller neck, which is cool. Now it's not a fat neck, it's not a big neck or anything, so it's still a slim profile neck. But the width is really nice and it's really comfortable to play. I came with the set of 9s on there. I've put 10s on here since. Overall, it's a pretty decent guitar. For 130 bucks, you can't really beat it. The fretwork was really great. The frets were level. Hey, that's a good start, especially for 130 bucks. You know, you're not always getting that with inexpensive guitars. They'll come with very sharp fret edges, but they're not sharp at all. They could use a little polishing if you're into that thing. I mean, I'm not going to do that. I don't see the need. They're not scratchy. Maybe a little, but not really. Like I said, they're level, so that's fine. Some of my main gripes of this guitar are the hardware, the pickups, and that's what you would expect from something at this price range. But if you're just starting off, this guitar will get you there, and it'll get you there fast. The body is actually a little bit thinner, which they do on the Bullets and the Affinity series, and I'm sure that's a cost-cutting feature. And I'm sure, you know, if I took this paint job off, it'd probably be 4 or 5 pieces of basswood. But they did a nice job painting it. I mean, it looks really good. It's really clean. it's kind of amazing what they're able to do for that kind of money these days. You know, Indonesia, China, all these factories are making outstanding guitars for very little money, and it's crazy. When I was starting out, you couldn't get a guitar like this for that price range. It would be junk and completely unplayable. So I'm going to play a little bit of it, and then I'm going to talk about, you know, a little bit, some of the pros and cons of this guitar. So let's play a little bit. Let's start the bridge pickup right here. So as you can hear, it definitely sounds like a Strat, you know? It plays like a Strat. So if you're getting started and you want a Strat style guitar, well, you might as well go to the makers, and that's Fender. If you can't afford a Fender, get a Squier. Squier's making some outstanding stuff these days. Now let's talk about some of my main gripes. And probably the biggest problem I had with this guitar is when it came, it was unplayable. The setup was atrocious. Now, as a beginner, that would be pretty frustrating. Get a guitar, it looks cool, you can't wait, plugging in your guitar, and it's pretty much almost unplayable. The action was super high. The neck relief was just way too much, which helped make it unplayable. And I feel like Squier could do just a little bit better job with that. Now, I understand these guitars sit in boxes and they come over from Indonesia and probably sit in warehouses. So there's all these different temperature changes that they go through. And that's going to affect the setup a little bit, but not that much. I mean, the action down here was set up really high. Now, I like pretty high action, but even that was almost crippling. I couldn't do it. Even with 9s on there. And it was hard to play. So I feel like Fender needs to up their game a little bit there. But, I mean, that's a really pretty minor gripe because the guitar is actually really good. The fretwork's great. I can't complain about that. As I said, the frets were level. The neck feels really great. It's got a cool skunk stripe back there, which is really cool. The finish it doesn't have a lot of finish, so it's really easy to play. It's really smooth. So you can't really complain too much about that. As for me, as someone who's going to play this guitar, I'm going to change a bunch of things. But that's not saying you have to, because the average beginner is not going to hear the things that I'm hearing. They'll be able to play this guitar and enjoy it for a while to come, and as you get to be a better player, then you'll start to understand this, what's not the best. So what's not the best? Things like that you would expect on a guitar in this price range. The hardware. It's pretty chintzy. I mean, this is that pot metal, and it's just not the best bridge. I mean, it functions really well. I was able to set it up and intonate it, but it's not the best feeling. You can tell it's more chintzy. It's got the small block, so that affects resonance and all that stuff. The strings just don't resonate as well on those things. The pickups, cheap ceramic magnet pickups that you expect on any inexpensive guitar in this price range, but they sound surprisingly pretty decent. I was able to get a pretty good tone out of them, as you probably just heard. It took a little work, I'll be honest. I had to raise them and set them up a little bit to get them to sound good. And they don't have that beautiful, rich mids and chimey thing that most Strats have. I mean, you can dial it in with your amp, but they don't have it as rich and as good, and you wouldn't expect that on this price range of guitar. But it still sounds like a Strat. The switch feels like, cheap PC board strip, switch. I'm sure that's what it is. Probably little tiny alpha pots, but they feel good, and actually, the volume, it works really good. It's not just, you can roll the volume off and clean it up your amp a little bit. I mean, it actually functions. It's smoother than I would expect. The nut is a cheap plastic nut, which is okay. I mean, it works fine. I just lubricated it. I just put some graphite in the slots, and it works great. I don't even know if I'm going to change the nut because it's fine. The tuners, again, like the bridge, are pretty chintzy. They're pot metal. They're not the greatest, but she stays in tune thanks to a good setup. And as I said, that's one of the things that I wish Fender would do a little bit better with these inexpensive guitars. Is kind of get you a little bit better setup. It wouldn't take them much more than a second to kind of lubricate the nut, just to make sure that there's no binding in there. Tighten the tuners so they're all tightened down. Something I had to do. Make sure the neck is a little bit straighter, a little bit more playable action. But that's not to say that's going to happen with every model. You could get one in out of the box, it could be fine. That's one of the quality control things with inexpensive guitars is sometimes you're going to find some lemons, sometimes you'll find some diamonds in the rough. I think this is a pretty decent diamond in the rough that required a little work, which can be frustrating for someone who's a beginner and doesn't know how to do that stuff. It took me a little while. I had to adjust the truss rod, I had to reset up the action, I had to shim the neck. And for you beginners, you don't know what shim is. It's like I took the neck off and I put a piece of a credit card down here in the neck to get the angle right, which is actually one of the best things about bolt-on style guitars. For setup, they're a little easier to get a good setup out of because you can do things like that. I had to tighten the springs back here because it was super loose. As I said, lubricate the nut. I put my own strings on there. I lubricated the fretboard because it did feel pretty dry. But overall, it's a pretty great guitar. A little thinner. I don't know if I mentioned that. A little thinner than your average Strat. That's how they save money. I'm sure underneath here it's like 4 or 5 piece body, and that's fine. I'm not going to change the color. I love that color. I think that's rad. But overall, I mean, I'd give it a B for quality. It's pretty good. It's pretty outstanding. The neck feels great. I love that. There's some minor issues that need to be addressed, but they're all issues that can be addressed. If you're a beginner and you're thinking about getting this guitar, I encourage you to get it, But when you do, take it to your local music store and spend a couple dollars to get it set up. You know, let a professional tech do that, and you'll have a great guitar to start with, and it'll sound good, and it'll play great, and it'll get you to the next level, and then then you can upgrade to something better. If you're someone like me who's a tinkerer and you want a mod project, I think this is a great platform. The neck is great. You get a good neck, you get a good body. That's really what a good mod project needs to start off with, and this is really great. So I'm going to do some things to it. I'll do another video showing those changes at A and B. But there you have it. It's a Squier Bullet Strat. Pretty cool guitar. Some lows, but mainly some highs on this guitar. So thanks for watching. Please hit subscribe. Comment down below. I promise I'm going to try to do some more videos for you. I appreciate you watching again. Happy New Year. We'll see you soon.